Good morning. Welcome to the Return Homestead. My name is Mike, and my wife Marty and I homestead 50 acres in southeastern Kentucky. Today we've got a couple of interesting projects underway. We want to get some shade into the chickens. We're going to be back working on our drainage issues here on the 2001 Fleetwood. And of course, we've still got our remodel we're working on there. And here we have our first order of business. So there's a lot of work to do today. It doesn't matter if it rains or not. We still got to get work done. So come along with us and see what we're doing today to return to the land, return to labor, and return to life. So we hatched out 22 new chickens this spring, and we raised those guys up, got them mixed in with the rest of the flock. They are finally becoming fully grown chickens, and unfortunately that means these roosters are probably going to have to go. I was hopeful that Rocky would at least accept one of the roosters. He could really use some help. There are really too many hens in here for him to take care of. So we're hoping one of these roosters might fit the bill, but yesterday Rocky kind of ejected all of them as they were going into the coop last night. So before he went into the coop, he made sure he chased out every rooster that was in the run. And I happened to be up there at the top of the hill when he threw out the last one. And then he looked at me as if to say, "Are you going to do something about this?" So today we're going to do something about it. I've got all these roosters now. There's 6 of them running around loose out here in the yard. So that's the first order of business, is to figure out how to get these guys collected and get them away from the flock and isolated. We're just not ready to harvest today. So we just need to get these guys isolated somewhere while we plan for harvesting them. So the first order of business this morning is going to be to corral those roosters. They're just kind of running around out here in the yard. And on this 40-degree incline, I could wear myself out for the entire day just trying to catch these guys. So they are waiting back here to be fed. I'm going to try to use that to my advantage. Sometimes you got to learn to think like a chicken in order to catch a chicken. So I could go out there and chase them into a corner of the yard and then try to pick them up. But running up and down the hill trying to get them into a corner doesn't sound like a good way to start the day. So we have a section of run that we can isolate. So if I can get the chickens inside of the run, then they'll be a whole lot easier to catch. They can't run all around the yard. Unfortunately for me, chickens are pretty simple creatures. They want to eat, and they want to drink, and then they want to eat again. So pretty straightforward. So we're going to try a little feed. See if maybe I can use a little grain to entice them into the run. Don't need a lot, just enough to get them enticed, get them excited about eating. So I think with just a little bit of grain, I should be able to get these guys isolated, put them somewhere I can get to them more easily here inside the run. We did have 3 of these guys who came up last night. So they were hanging out outside the run. They actually got out of the yard last night. And they were hanging out trying to figure out how to get into the coop. So they're already in the run. We just got 3 more we got to get in there. Well, it seems like the chickens are a lot smarter than I am this morning. The ones that are out in the yard don't want to come inside the run, so I'm going to have to go ahead and see if I can chase them up this way. So there we go, nice and easy, 6 roosters isolated inside of the run. Now catching them is not as easy as that, but we'll get these guys picked up and we're going to put them down in the goat pen. So where we have the goats, it's someplace we can secure the chickens and keep them isolated from the flock.
That's the one that's such a pain. I'll go on the other side if you think I'll go on there. That one's a pain.
Yeah, he's wow.
Yeah.
Very energetic.
Yes. Are the chickens out?
No,
Oh,
just a few of the roosters, the ones I want to catch.
See, these tulip poplars are doing the same thing.
Yeah, I've noticed that. So we've got these 2 tulip poplars, and then like every other tree or so out there in the woods.
It's turning yellow and dropping leaves.
Yeah, so we've just noticed this happening in the last week. You guys see those yellow leaves out here on this tulip poplar? This is not the time of year when they should be turning yellow and brown and falling off of the tree. And it's not just this poplar. There's the other poplar next to it, also struggling. And we see this throughout the landscape. It's hard to see from up here, but every 10th or 11th tree out there has got some of this damage on it. So we're not sure what's causing this damage. If anybody has any ideas, please tell us what you think this might be. What might be causing this? It's not localized. This is throughout this area. So as we drive around Laurel County, we see these yellowed leaves on tulip poplars, beech, and maple trees. They all seem to be impacted. Please let us know if you have any idea what might be causing it. There's no real trick to catching a chicken. You just grab a hold and don't let go. They're pretty sturdy animals. I'm not grabbing a hold of them hard or anything. I'm holding this guy loosely in my hands. He's quite comfortable at the moment. He's actually pretty relaxed. He's not even struggling against me at all. And that's the way I like to hold them. When you're catching them, you just grab a hold of something and lock onto it and don't let go. It doesn't really matter what you grab a hold of. A lot of folks will just grab a hold of tail feathers and hang on. I like to try to grab them around the shoulders. That gives me control of the wings and the head. Or at least that's the plan usually when you grab a hold of the shoulders. Sometimes it doesn't work out exactly right. But if you just hang on, they'll eventually stop squirming and you can get a good grip on them. If you're having a hard time carrying them because they like to keep kicking, if you can grab the wings and stick one of them up against your chest right on the side there, and then just put a hand on their feet. You don't have to squeeze their feet together. Just put your hand around their feet. They won't be able to get any leverage and they'll just sit calmly while you move them. So I have 4 of the roosters isolated now in the goat barn, and we'll take care of harvesting those in a few days. We may end up taking these last 2 roosters too. We're going to leave them in there for now and see if the flock calms down. That's what we're really trying to do, is eliminate stress. The stressed chickens don't lay eggs well. We went from getting 20 eggs a day to getting 5 eggs a day because we adjusted their feed. And now we're back up to 9 eggs a day, but that kind of stress in a flock will cause them to stop laying altogether. So we had to get some of those roosters out of there. There's just way too much pressure on the hens. And the roosters were just coming into their own. They had finally grown up and they decided it was time to start mounting the hens. And Rocky is not appreciating that much. So we knew they were stressed out because there were lots of loud calls. Normally the chickens just have kind of a chatter that runs all day long. It runs in the background. You guys hear it on our videos all the time. The rooster occasionally calls out, usually to signal an overhead predator, but for the most part, they're just calmly walking around looking for food. And if you hear hens starting to complain, if they're having loud squabbling conversations with someone, it's because there's a rooster picking on them. Occasionally you will get 2 hens that will get into it, but that's uncommon. It's usually because a rooster is hassling them that the hens will start making loud noises. So if you get a lot of loud noises out in the yard, not inside of the coop where they're laying eggs, you've got a stress problem in the flock. And in this case, it just happens to be too many roosters. Easy to solve. Take out some of the roosters and everything should calm down. So we're going to watch Rocky with these last 2 roosters. I would like to keep 1 more rooster in there. Try to keep it about 10 hens to a rooster, and right now we've got about 20 if we leave only Rocky in there. So I'd like to leave 1 other rooster in there. We'll just see how that plays out over the next few days. And now we can let the chickens out for the day. But of course now the rain's also falling, so we're going to have a little rain delay here. And this is a good place to cut off for this video. So we'll pick up the rest of the day on the next video. We'll see you there. Like every other tree or so out there in the woods. Yeah. So we've just noticed this happening in the last week. You guys see those yellow leaves out here on this tulip poplar? This is not the time of year when they should be turning yellow and brown and falling off of the tree. And it's not just this poplar.